The Travis Walton abduction case is one of the most famous cases in ufology. Until recently, Walton himself has been the only one on the public stage telling the story from that night in November of 1975. This past February at the International UFO Conference, Walton was joined on stage after more than 30 years by John Goulet and Steve Pierce, two of the workers present with Walton at the time of this event.
It was just hovering there in the air.
You got hit by the light.
This blue screen light came out and it zapped him.
I had no idea if you were dead or alive.
They were going to hang us for murder. They thought he was dead.
Some people believe you and some people don't. And the people who don't are awful hard on you.
Since the conference, Pierce has received a considerable amount of attention. Many, including Open Minds, have told the story of Pierce and what he has experienced since that night and since the conference. Pierce has come to Open Minds in what he claims will be his last interview to set the record straight on some of what he feels are misconceptions with his story.
I didn't leave Arizona because of Philip Glass. I didn't leave Texas because of Philip Glass. I left those places for, I left Arizona because I was tired of being harassed by everybody. I can't sleep at night. I stress all the time. I'm scared of the woods. I cannot sleep in the woods by myself. In my family, they do not believe me. That's what really hurts the most. My ex-wife used to tell me not to tell nobody because they thought I was nuts. You can't don't be going to somebody's house and telling them the story because it's embarrassing. They think you're nuts. I don't even believe she really believed the story.
Pierce was only 17 when the occurrence took place, and local law enforcement subjected all involved to a polygraph test to attempt to find the truth. Pierce passed the test, however, the barrage of skepticism had a deep effect on him.
I don't lie, and I passed the polygraph test. We proved that we saw a UFO, But no matter what you come up with, they're not going to believe you. The people who believe are going to believe, and the people who don't aren't going to believe.
His life since then has centered on distancing himself from what took place. Steve, which is actually his middle name, went back to using his true first name, Jeff.
Well, I started driving a truck, and I started using my first name instead of my middle name because Stephen is my middle name. And I got completely away from it because people would laugh at you, thinking this was a hoax, the first 5 days they thought we were murderers, and then after that they thought it was a hoax.
Cop came to the door and said, I'll give you Phillips Glass said he'd give you $10,000 if you say it's a hoax, So he left, I just blew it off.
Philip J. Glass, known for his skepticism regarding UFOs, continued to harass Steve over the years through telephone calls and eventually flying to Texas to try to coerce Steve in person. Pierce has maintained his story through it all.
He found me in Texas, and he was calling me up and saying that he'd give me this money if I say it was a hoax, And I was already mad at Travis and Mike, So I was going to go ahead and take the money because it was 78, and I had, a bunch of little kids, and I needed the money, but I didn't take it.
So what was it that made Pierce come forward after all these years? Through all of the disbelief that Pierce has had to endure, one very important person has and will always stand by his side.
I got involved back in it because of my daughter, because she's really a believer. We was watching the film, and my name was changed. So I told her that's me, and she wanted me to prove it, So that's how I got a hold of Travis last summer for the first time. She reads UFO books. She's really into this. She really thinks there's, she believes it.
Fighting the disbelief has taken its toll on Steve. He continues to stick to his story, even though his skeptics continue to pursue him. His daughter's support rejuvenates his spirit and strengthens his resolve. Speaking at the conference has opened a new group of supporters for Steve as well, a group of eyes and ears that appreciate and believe his experience.
It makes you feel good that the people there believe you, because all my life, people haven't believed me.
Since coming forward at the conference, he claims that he has again been asked to change his story.
I've been offered money to say it was a hoax again.
Again, you have.
Yeah.
By,
I'm not telling.
okay.
This is my last conference. I mean, my last interview, so I'm out of this.
What Steve Pierce experienced that night can be read in his eyes and felt in his presence. His stare shows a man who's experienced his share of trials and battled with the doubt cast upon him.
You got all these people out there saying it's not true, you know, and that really gets to you. You know, you're a liar, you know, and I'm not a liar.